Hi there, I'm Sylvia and welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to be talking about how you can find your interior design style even if you have no experience, like I'm talking zero experience, which is basically me. I'm not a professional interior designer. A long time ago, I got my degree in architecture that I never used, but I love all things decor, design, home improvement, and I think it's so important to make the space that you spend most of your time in really inviting and feel beautiful. So I'm going to be showing you today the techniques that I used to plan out my space before I even bought one piece of furniture. I think it's really helpful to do the work on the front end because it's going to save you work and money on the back end. One thing to note too is it doesn't matter if you don't have a specific style. I don't consider myself to have like a unique interior design perspective. You know, some people, you go to their home and it's really obvious that they have a unique perspective. It's like woven into the fabric of every piece that they have in their home. They probably thrift shop, go to unique places that you've never heard of to buy furniture. That's not me. Like I go to West Elm. Prior to West Elm, I would go to IKEA. I just like getting inspiration from other people in different places and putting it together to express myself. So like I said, you don't have to be an expert. I'm going to be going back and forth between looking directly at you and sharing my screen. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So I am a huge fan of Pinterest. It's free. I encourage you to sign up. You don't have to have your name and photo on there. You can be a completely anonymous avatar. But I think there's such a wealth of inspiration there. And if, like most of us, we can't afford to hire an interior designer, a professional. So Pinterest will kind of do a lot of the work for you. The algorithm will do a lot of the work for you. So sign up for an account if you haven't already. And then what you want to do is go ahead and create boards. And boards are essentially folders. And then within those folders, you can have subfolders or sections. So you can go ahead and follow me on Pinterest. I have 2 boards dedicated to interior design. This Dream Dwellings one is just general inspiration that I love with no specific project in mind. And then for the purposes of today's video, I have the My Condo board with each section dedicated to either a room or a living space that I intend to redecorate. And this is essentially where I save all the ideas that I find on Pinterest. So I encourage you to do the same. Essentially, what you're going to do is start by searching Pinterest. So obviously this will all be empty for you if this is your first time, but you're essentially going to search Pinterest for certain keywords. Now, you may hear people saying things like rustic, modern, minimalist to describe their style. Again, if you have no idea what your style is, I say just go ahead and type in what kind of space you have. I don't know why that's all caps. It's going to annoy me. Let's do it small. Okay, so you could do apartment inspiration. If you live in a beach house, you could do beach house inspiration. Or if you live in a brownstone, Victorian townhouse, you get the idea. And this is just going to give you a really wide variety of pins or photos to start with. And I say just have no judgments on yourself. Just pin anything you like. No 2 pins have to be the same. The themes will come together naturally, as I'll show you. Just for demonstrations purposes, let's go ahead and type in Brooklyn Townhouse inspiration. Okay, so you can see it starts to serve up different things. If you want to specify even further, you can type in Brooklyn Kitchen Townhouse or Brooklyn Townhouse Kitchen inspiration. You get the deal. Okay, so what you're going to start seeing, let me start with the kitchen. So my earliest pins are all the way down at the bottom. My first kitchen, or my kitchen before the renovation, had a bright turquoise wall and brown cabinets. And I learned after living in that space for almost 10 years, having a very bright, very unique, specific color on the walls gets old real quick. But I still hadn't pulled away from that habit. I love color. So you'll see that like my earlier pins, I was still kind of drawn to having like color on the walls or maybe bright colors on the cabinets. And then I kind of had to discipline myself. Now, again, you may not even know this about yourself, so that's fine. But my point is I started to realize I wanted a white kitchen with light cabinets, light backsplash, light granite, or quartz on the countertops. And so that starts to become the theme that you see throughout my kitchen section on Pinterest. And you can really see how that comes together. So if I were to show you now the top three pictures that I loved for my kitchen, you can see that inspiration translate to what I actually did in real life. But it's going to start off a little messy, no theme, and then it kind of all comes together. I can show you another example of that. If we let's go with my living room. So again, in the beginning, lots of bright color. This is a beautiful space. I just know myself, if I paint a wall this green, in 3 years, I'm going to be hating it. So again, I slowly reminded myself of what it is that I wanted and pinned rooms that were neutral on the walls and the floors, but then accessories like furniture, throw pillows, cushions, paintings, they are going to satisfy my need for color. So that started coming together by the time I finished pinning on this board. And so if you look at how my living room turned out, you can see the top three pictures that I loved and how that really inspired the space that I have. There's no specific time frame for this. I knew I wanted to renovate my condo maybe 3 years ago. So I was pinning on this board for 3 years. But even if you only have 3 months, you can be pinning on the train during your commute. You can be pinning while you're watching your favorite reality TV show. I just encourage you to do it enough so that you can really get a sense of, okay, this is what I really like and this is what I don't like. Now, eventually what's going to start happening on Pinterest is it's going to keep suggesting things to you based on your previous activity, which can kind of make your feed redundant. So I do recommend refreshing your algorithm rather, by searching new terms. And like I said, as you're figuring out the new themes, you'll be able to better express and articulate what keywords you want. So instead of just searching for apartment inspiration, you may start realizing that you want a white kitchen for your apartment. And so you can type that in. Or you may type in, I really want a minimalist style for my bedroom. But like I said, just start with general terms. And then as you see the patterns in your boards, then you can narrow down your search and reinvigorate your feed to serve up new things. Another great thing about Pinterest too, it will start recommending products as well. So for me, I found so many things that Pinterest started recommending to me. For example, this table, which I ended up buying, it recommended it to me and I ended up buying it. You don't have to buy the exact same table. You can even say, okay, that price is a little bit much for me, but go ahead and show me some other options just by searching that particular table within the picture, and it will throw up some great suggestions. Another thing that Pinterest helped me do was break up any conventional theories about design or patterns that I have. So here in my dining room, I actually have a table that I bought separately, chairs that I bought independently, and then put it all together. Traditionally, I just always used to buy a dining room table and the 4, 6, or 8 chairs together as one product. But Pinterest really helped me realize I can actually get different chairs. Like I can buy the table separately, I can buy the chairs separately. I even discovered that I could use a bench for one side of my dining room and then individual chairs for the other side of my dining room. That's not something I would have even thought about if I hadn't been on Pinterest. So again, you can see that inspiration in my dining room. Okay, so now that you've narrowed down the boards and started to identify themes, the next step that I did was take 3 or 5 photos from each section, like the kitchen, the living room, dining room, the 3 or 5 pictures that really exemplified what it was that I was trying to do in that room. And then I take those photos and create a digital mood board. And the mood board is now what I'm going to use moving forward when I'm shopping for items, materials, furniture, that kind of thing. So think of Pinterest as your initial inspiration, and then you're going to narrow it down and take it to your mood board. So I'm going to show you now how I do that on Canva. So Canva is another great free tool that you can sign up for. I'm using a mood board template that I actually got from 3 Birds Renovation. They are a great company based out of Australia, 3 women that are interior designers, and they do renovations as well. Their stuff tends to be very beachy, coastal. So if you live in California or Miami, you should definitely check their stuff out. But you can go ahead and find free templates here on Pinterest. You can just search mood boards, interior design, and then so many are going to come up. So remember, what we're trying to do here is for each room, or you could even do this for the entire house, but I like to break up mood boards by specific spaces. But you're taking those top 3 to 5 pictures that really nail down your style and then putting them together, and then using this when you start sourcing products that you're going to buy. I even knew what materials I wanted. So like I said, I even put those in. Whatever stage you're in, you can go ahead and do that. So here, this is what it looks like for my living and dining room space. And this is so helpful. Like I say, when you start shopping for furniture, you can kind of look at this and see, am I on the right track? Also in Pinterest, like I showed you, you can actually search for specific items. You can do a Google reverse image search. Maybe I'll do another video on that to find something. So say, for example, you see a picture and you really love this cushion, but you have no idea who created it. You can use Pinterest or Google to try and find that exact cushion or something similar. But this is really helpful. I had this on my phone, and whenever I went shopping, I would always look at this for reference. So once you have these mood boards, you're ready to start actually shopping. So once I was ready to start purchasing items, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just guessing that things would go together. So I actually wanted to create a collage using specific items that I was thinking of purchasing and then piecing them all together to see if they would work. So what this looks like is just having a plain white space in Canva. And then what I do is, any piece of furniture that I'm thinking of purchasing, here I am on West Elm. This is actually the product I decided to purchase. So let me go ahead and show you how you can get that into Canva. Now, sometimes you can drag and drop an image, but in this case, I can't. So let's go ahead and do Command-Shift-4 on a Mac, and you can take a screenshot and then put that screenshot on your desktop or folder. Let's see, sometimes it does let you, there you go. It just depends on what view you have. Like I was able to drag and drop this, but either way works. I would suggest going for images of products that have a plain background like this one versus taking this image, which has a lot of other bits and pieces in it. The reason for that is once we get to our plain mood board, we're going to drag it into the space. And then we want to, even though this is white, we want to remove this background so that when we start overlapping images, they're not kind of conflicting with each other. So Canva has this great tool called BG Background Remover. So select the image that you have and then just do this and it works its magic. And now this is all transparent in the background. It even got rid of that shadow. And then that's great. So when you start adding other images, bear in mind anything that you add into Canva now will appear in your uploads. So you don't have to keep adding the same image. It'll be here waiting for you. So say, for example, you want to start putting pieces together, they're not going to conflict because they have a white background behind them. I hope I'm explaining that well. So you upload all of these different things and then you can just start having fun putting all the furniture together and moving it around. You can click on the image and send it backwards. So you can go to layer, send something backwards so that something appears in front of it instead. And so yeah, just go ahead and have fun with it. And the idea here is you're not trying to create an exact space. Like I have seen some tools where they make it look like a digital room, like with the perspective, like you can see the floor, the ceiling, the living room, and it has like a distinct perspective. I don't think that's necessary. So this kind of looks like a room, but I have a rug up here and then the variation of my floorboards up here. I didn't bother putting them on the floor. To me, this exercise is just looking at different pieces I'm considering and seeing if they'll go with the other things that I've either already purchased or I'm thinking of purchasing. So this is another good example. This is my dining room. I'm not even attempting to make this look like a dining room by putting all the chairs around the table. I just want to see if I purchase these individual things, are they going to look good together? Do the colors match? Does it look like the textures match? The gold hardware, is it the same kind of gold? That is the aim here. You're not literally trying to recreate a room, if that makes sense. So this is really helpful for me. You can probably see how this translates into my living room, how this translates into my dining room. I didn't bother doing this for a kitchen because I think a kitchen is pretty self-explanatory. It's all cabinets, tiles, and what have you. So this is enough for this space. Another great thing to do is to make sure that you are mixing and matching. So this is what I ended up doing, but you may be considering 2 different couches. So you may duplicate this and try one couch on one of them and a different couch on another. So it's really good at like experimenting with different options. The last thing that I'll say is sometimes you won't be able to find exact pictures of what it is that you are attempting to buy. So for example, my couch I bought from Joybird and they custom build it. So there was no realistic photo of the couch that I ended up buying anywhere online. Even if I took a picture, it wasn't the best picture to use here. So I just went and found online a great couch in the same kind of texture and color as the one I was, and style, a sectional that I was thinking of purchasing, just to give me an idea. So they don't have to be exactly the same, but for the most part, you will find pieces. A lot of people shop online now on Amazon, West Elm, and they typically have pictures of the products for you to grab. So that's it. It's a really straightforward process. Like I said in the beginning, I think it's really important that you spend the time doing this on the front end. It may seem like a lot of work. I found it lots of fun, but I think it's so much better to do that than buy something that you really hate and maybe you can't send it back because it's final sale, or just the pain of having to organize someone to come and pick something up or you having to go to the post office to send it back. I would rather do this exercise in the beginning and then be a lot more confident in what it is I'm purchasing and the style that I'm bringing into my space when I'm eventually ready to hit purchase. So I hope that's been really helpful for you. You can see the full tour of my apartment here, or maybe it's here, I don't know. I'll put a link to it somewhere. Be sure to ask me any questions, clarifying questions in the comments. And if you like my videos, please go ahead and subscribe. All right, bye.